Hi everyone, Kalyan Kumar here and welcome back to Product Review. In this particular video, we're going to talk about how torrents were born and who gave birth to torrents and how does torrent actually work. With the rise of affordable streaming services like Netflix, Disney+, Hulu and Prime Video, we've seen a significant reduction in piracy over the past several years. But for those who still engage in piracy, there is no doubt that torrenting is the key that makes it all possible. Now, if you're not familiar with torrenting, it's basically a file distribution system that makes it extremely difficult to shut down piracy. Now, instead of downloading a file from a central server, with torrents, you download the file from thousands of other people who've already downloaded the file themselves. So piracy sites like the Pirate Bay and Kickass Torrents don't actually host the files themselves. They just have to host the torrenting links that connect the pirates from around the world. So if prosecutors take down a certain piracy website, the host of the website just have to upload the link to a new website, which is no more than a few gigabytes or even sometimes just some kilobytes. In other words, they don't have to move their exabytes of data associated with the links themselves. This ease of moving websites has made it impossible to shut down a large websites like Pirate Bay, as they can just constantly move websites thanks to torrents. As you would guess, prosecutors and copyright holders aren't exactly a big fan of the man who invented torrents, Bram Cohen. But at the same time, they can't do anything about it. So here's the story of Bram Cohen and how he accidentally invented the Soul of Piracy, the torrents. Taking a look back, Bram was born on October 12, 1975 in Manhattan, New York. His father was a computer scientist and his mother was a school teacher. So it looks like the family didn't have too much trouble financially. From a very early age, it was clear that Bram wasn't like most kids. He had rather mature interests and excelled at stimulated competitions. For example, when he was just 5 years old, he was trying to learn a programming language, BASIC. And let's not forget, when Bram was 5, it was 1980. Even today, a 5-year-old learning computer science would be quite impressive. But given how much exposure children have towards technology today, it would make a lot more sense. But back in 1980 though, an average person didn't even know why they needed a personal computer in the first place. Aside from an interest in programming, Bram participated in several competitions such as the USA Math Olympiad. Yet, despite this inclination towards academics, it doesn't seem like Bram was that sold on the idea of school. He didn't stack on degrees after degree. Instead, he attended the University of Buffalo. And as soon as he started getting job offers, he left and never looked back. Now, Bram's career throughout the 1990s wasn't that stable, though it's not clear if Bram couldn't qualify for a job at a big tech company like Microsoft or Cisco, or if he was trying to hit it big with a startup. But either way, this forced him to constantly switch jobs as each startup he worked for went under. While the startup world wasn't too kind to Bram, it did provide him with unique concepts and ideas, and this was especially true with his last job at Mojo Nation. Mojo Nation was trying to create a decentralized method for safely storing and distributing confidential files. The idea was that encrypted chunks of the original file could be spread across multiple computers in this way. To download the entire file, you would need cooperation from all the computers. So a hacker couldn't just get access to one of those computers and steal the entire file. And it's not clear if this decentralized encryption method ever caught on. But this idea did inspire Bram, who thought it was the perfect way for file sharing. In the April of 2001, Bram went ahead and quit Mojo Nation, determined to bring his file sharing idea to life. Over the next year, he programmed the first Bittorrent client, which ran on Python. Soon enough, Bram completed a beta version of the software that worked all right. But Bram was well aware that the key to success was not the program itself, but getting people to see it. So he worked with his roommate Len Sassman to create a tech conference that you might have heard of called the CodeCon. Since then, even people as notably as Sergey Brin and Elon Musk have presented on CodeCon, but Bram and his Bittorrent were the stars of the first CodeCon. Now, this presentation allowed Bram to create some hype in the tech world, but this was not exactly his target audience per se. So Bram developed a new idea to attract users. In the summer of 2002, Bram went out and got some adult films and offered them for free on Bittorrent. This strategy was surprisingly effective, but he didn't want to be known as an adult film distributor. So after he built up a solid base of users, he stopped distributing these films. By this point though, many Bittorrent users started to realize the true potential of the program. Nowadays, we have extremely reliable storage platforms like Google Drive and Mega, which allow users to download gigabytes worth of files in a matter of minutes. But back in the early 2000s, moving around such large files was not only difficult but extremely expensive due to storage and bandwidth requirements. No one wanted to host such files. But with the Bittorrent though, no single person had to host the files. Instead, hundreds or even thousands of users could host them, and given that an average person isn't charged for the bandwidth usage, this was basically free for most hosts. Now, considering these perks, I don't think you'd be surprised to hear that Bittorrent became the go-to place to share and download large files, and naturally, it's not like people need a Bittorrent to share gigabyte worth of Word documents or Excel spreadsheets. Now, the most common files that were large enough to require Bittorrent were movies, games, and software. And as users started to realize how easily such files could be shared using Bittorrent, the program quickly became the soul of piracy. Given Bittorrent's major role within piracy, it's not surprising that Bittorrent was a massive target for prosecutors. But the problem was that they couldn't really charge Bittorrent or Bram for copyright infringement. Bram had made it clear that he didn't create Bittorrent for piracy. His main goal was to simply allow users to share and to download large files, cheaper, faster, and more efficiently than ever before. And it just so happens that the community started using it for illicit activities. So given that there was no conspiracy to commit copyright infringement, prosecutors couldn't do anything. It would be like the FBI acting against Facebook because people are using WhatsApp to conduct scams. With that being said, though, piracy is a way bigger part of Bittorrent than scams are to WhatsApp. So prosecutors were constantly looking for ways to build a case against Bittorrent. But Bram was well aware of this and he was extremely cautious. He didn't pirate anything himself. He didn't encourage others to pirate. And he constantly tried to make Bittorrent more applicable to other use cases as well. That basically created hurdles for legal stance on the piracy issue. His moral stance, however, was a lot different. Bram believed that copyright holders need to get a life and stop going after every medium that inadvertently enables piracy. He argued that if copyrighted content was affordable and easily accessible way, people would have no reason to share content and waste time. This does make sense. Given what happened to the music industry back in the 2000s with Napster, where it was extremely common to pirate music to an MP3 player or iPod. But with the explosive growth of YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, music piracy has significantly declined. I mean, why would you go on to sketchy websites and risk getting a virus when you can legally listen to any song on YouTube or Spotify for free with ads or for a reasonable fee without ads? So I do think Bram's arguments make some sense. But this didn't stop copyright holders from trying to fight back anyway. Since copyright holders couldn't directly shut down or convict Bittorrent, they decided to go after the ones that were sharing the content themselves. Initially, this included Bittorrent as well, as those that had links to copyrighted material on their official website. But in 2005, Bram made a deal with 7 American studios that he would remove all piracy related links from his own website. Now, this led on the rise of sites like the Pirate Bay and Kickass Torrents. The advantage of torrents are seeders. Seeders are basically thousands of people around the world that have downloaded a torrent and are making this available to others for downloading. And since copyright holders couldn't take down BitTorrent, they decided to take down the seeders. Copyright holders started finding the IP addresses of seeders and contacting their internet service providers to cut their internet. Considering these consequences, you might be wondering, why would anybody seed the content at all? Well, within the torrent community, it's a common courtesy to seed for as long as you have downloaded, if not more. The difference between downloading a content from a server or a website and downloading the same content through torrenting is that when you download from a server, you download linearly. What I mean is that if you're downloading a 1-hour movie, you will download the movie starting from the first 1 second to the last second in a linear order. So the first 1 second is downloaded, then the next 1 second is downloaded, and so on. Downloading the same with torrents is different. Since you're downloading it from several people's computers, the download is random and not linear. So you might download the first 1 second first and maybe even the last 1 second next from a different user simultaneously. So the order of download is random and not linear. Now, if there is only one seeder, then you will have to download the complete file from the person only, and this will happen linearly. But let's say if you have 2 seeders, then the torrent client will download parts from one seeder and simultaneously download a different part from the second one, thus reducing the time for download to almost half. But even if you don't seed it out of free will, you'll automatically be seeding as you're downloading the content itself. These are called leechers. Moreover, people can download from you while you are downloading from others. It will allow others to download the bits that you've already downloaded, though you may not have the complete file. Now, copyright holders have actually gotten really good at identifying seeders and cutting their internet connection. Now, this has in turn forced most people to start using VPNs or virtual private networks, which is quite ironic. See, if you're allowing piracy, it means you don't want to pay anything to the creator, and by making it available for others to download, you're helping others avoid paying too. But for using VPN, you have to pay some fee to VPN providers. The cheapest option for VPNs is about $100, while subscribing to Disney Plus is only $80. So clearly there is some sort of disparity going on here if pirates are more willing to pay for a VPN than a streaming service, as Bram suggested. Nonetheless, copyright holders have continued to spend a lot of effort in taking down seeders. For many founders within the piracy community, there is no life after founding the piracy websites, as most of them have several charges against them. They owe millions of dollars to copyright holders and or are fugitives on the run. But given that Bram was always able to stay on the legal side of the law, there is nothing restricting him, and he's used his freedom to move past BitTorrent. In 2017, Bram founded a cryptocurrency company called the Chia Network. One of the main goals of the company was to move cryptocurrency away from proof of work and on to proof of stake. If you're not sure what that means, it basically means eliminating the need for miners. Chia launched their coin in May of 2021, and it hasn't been doing so hot. In fact, it's down 95% from its peak. So overall, crypto sentiment hasn't been too kind to Chia. With that being said though, given the existence of much more popular projects with similar goals like Solana and Cardano, it's not clear if Chia will ever take off. At the end of the day, Bram was the mastermind behind the power sharing protocols and made piracy what it is today. Despite his status within the piracy community, prosecutors can't really do anything to Bram, given that he didn't create BitTorrent with the intention of pirating it, nor does he encourage or promote piracy. This had allowed him to live a rather free life relative to other piracy kings, but none of the other projects thus far have achieved similar levels of success as BitTorrent. So that's the story of the Torrent King that the FBI can't do anything about. If you like this video, please do give a thumbs up. And if you love such videos, do subscribe to this channel. Check out the other videos of this channel and see if you like them. And if you have anything that you wish to talk about, please drop them in the comment section below. With that, Kalyan Kumar signing off. Have a great and wonderful and safe day. And thank you for watching this.